the defendant then grabbed the victim and threw her onto a bed and was continuing to interrogate her about who she had at the residence. He then pulled down his pants and underwear to his knees, exposing himself. That he then tried to murder.
My client is the victim.
I'll tell you what it sounds like to me. He's intending on getting the upper hand. He goes over there. He knows if he calls the police, she's in violation. I'm not.
Things get crazy today. This feels like something out of a crime movie. An obsessed ex is accused of breaking into a woman's home, ripping the door off the hinges, and crossing every line while under a no-contact order. Instead of taking the blame, he turns the hearing into a jealous scene, asking who she was seeing. Judge Simpson quickly catches on, breaks down his story, and exposes every lie in his "I'm the victim" act. You can actually see his confidence fall apart in real time. It's almost like a movie. But here's the question, should this guy walk free? Because if he does, he could be a real danger. Let's see what happens next.
And good afternoon again, Your Honor. Miles Drew on behalf of Mr. Busick, who's approaching my right. And could you please state your name for the record?
Ryan Michael Busick. All right, thank you. Go ahead. This is your motion.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, people are going to be requesting our original request, the $50,000 surety bond. In this case, defendant was granted a PR bond. However, the facts of this case are extremely concerning. Well, in this case, the defendant went to the victim's residence and was almost interrogating her and accusing her of infidelity. He banged on the door, was told to leave by her. He then forced his way into the home, breaking the door. Officers, when they arrived, saw broke the drywall. The door was off the frame. The deadbolt was still in the locked position. After entering the house, the defendant then grabbed the victim and threw her onto a bed and was continuing to interrogate her about who she had at the residence. He then pulled down his pants and underwear to his knees, exposing himself, and she stated that he then tried to while still happening, he was continuing to interrogate her about infidelity. She was then able to kick the defendant and run away out of the room and exit the home, where she began to yell for help. Neighbors heard her calling for help. After that, the defendant then chased her down and tried to stop her by grabbing her arm, causing her to fall. Law enforcement arrived shortly after, and in the videos, see that it was raining and they were both covered in rain, I guess water, I don't know. But it's very concerning, especially given that there was the broken door. And then not only after that, when he gets into custody, one of the two calls he makes, while one of them was prior to bond conditions, it was concerning to the people, given that in that call, he continues that line of interrogation of accusing her of cheating and infidelity on the jail calls. And then the next day, when he's arraigned, after he's arraigned, he calls her again, violating his bond. And it just seems, especially given these emails that we received yesterday, he has this obsessive disposition with his victim, and it's very concerning to people given the facts of this case and his actions after this case occurs. So at this time, we're going to be re-requesting our $50,000 request, and believe that a personal recognizance bond was an abuse of discretion, Your Honor.
Response.
And Your Honor, we would admit that there was a call that occurred on the jail line, the one call that is a violation of the court's bond conditions for the no contact. I would note that all the allegations the prosecutor has gone over as it relates to the bond violations were prior to me being retained as counsel. Mr. Busick's a lifelong resident of Ypsilanti. He has a clean eye chat that I've seen, meaning he has no priors and accordingly no capious history. While this is a very serious charge, and Mr. Busick does contest the allegations and is serious about facing them as evidenced by retaining counsel, I would note that there was no injuries or medical treatment and that Mr. Busick did comply with police officers. While I'm not here to litigate the facts of this case in a bond hearing, I think it's evident from looking at this case and the pending case against the complaining witness, where my client is the victim, that they have a dysfunctional long-term relationship that will no longer work out in any capacity as a romantic relationship. I've expressed that to Mr. Busick, and he's been receptive to that feedback. I think it's clear that neither party has treated each other very well. He is living currently in Ypsilanti with his mother, Lisa, who's in court today, his stepdad, Doug, who is also in court today, sister Chelsea, who is not here, but has been in constant communication in my office. His sister Erica is here in court, so he has strong family support in this matter. He does have two children with the complaining witness in this matter, his son Matthew, 4 years old, and daughter Scarlett, 2 years old. It's a shared custody situation where he has the kids on the weekend and about 2 or 3 nights during the week. His mom and sister are facilitating those custody exchanges, and I have expressed not only to Mr. Busick, but to the family the importance of the no contact order, including that it means no third party contact, and instructed the family not to discuss this case in any capacity whatsoever with the complaining witness. As for work, Mr. Busick is a journeyman carpenter with the Regional Carpenters and Millwright Union. He has over 10 years experience and 6 years with the union. He has good health coverage through his job that provides for not only him, but his children with the complaining witness. It's our understanding that the complaining witness does not work. And even though there's no child support order in place, he does also provide support to the mother of his children for expenses when she has the kids in her possession. In other words, he's the provider for these children, and they get their health insurance through his job, and that appears to be the only avenue for their health insurance. And he is at risk of losing this job should he go to jail. So, Your Honor, I would, conclude by saying that counsel was retained after all these allegations, that Mr. Busick has no prior criminal record, and I think him and the family maybe didn't understand the scope and importance and severity of a no contact order. I have counseled them at length about that no contact means for any reason.
Yet you have understood about that, counsel?
Even if your girlfriend cheated, breaking down her door and forcing your way in is totally wrong if the claims are true. The lawyer lays it all out, and you can see the shock on Judge Simpson's face, like, what am I hearing right now? This isn't a small traffic ticket. It's a no-contact violation tied to a possible assault. Once that order is active, it doesn't matter if she called or texted him legally. He cannot go near her, period. That's what makes cases like this so serious. The law doesn't care about emotions, only actions. Judge Simpson knows how fast situations like this can turn dangerous again if the court goes too easy. I'm not saying he's guilty, but if even part of this is true, it's serious. I really hope Judge Simpson makes the right call here.
Your Honor, I think it's somewhat common for people. I know no contact means no contact, and it's very straightforward, but I think people that have no prior history with the criminal justice system sometimes do not think things are as straightforward as they are. He certainly makes no excuses for his behavior, and he knows it's inexcusable to make those calls. We would be asking for a $25,000, 10% with the tether.
But he's still, from the allegations, and I'm not making necessarily a presumption of his guilt of those, but he's making certain allegations regarding her infidelity, then ultimately gets arrested. After creating, some damage or allegedly creating some damage to the premises, and things not going well because now you're in custody. You're told by the magistrate not to have contact. And what does he do? He has contact. And about the same thing that the allegations are about.
Right. I understand the court's concerns. That's why we are asking for a cash bond in this matter. I would point out that, since he was assaulted in March by the complaining witness, which resulted in felonious charges, these have been some of the hardest and trying months of his life. He has not been in his right state of mind. We're going to be looking to getting him, treatment while on bond, getting evaluated for a treatment course so he can get some support in facing this tough time, Judge. Ultimately, there's no excuse for making the phone call on bond. We understand that the allegations are concerning. We can test them as it relates to the case.
Tell me how I can even be sure that he's going to follow this court.
Well, I think you have his family sitting right here in the courtroom, that they're accountable, good members of our society that are going to be looking out and holding him accountable. They have, financial interests involved in this case as well. They are living with Ryan. He has no prior record, which I think speaks to the fact that they raised him pretty well up to this trying point here. And I think that the tether, was put in place after these phone calls, and there's been no issues with the exclusion zone. So I think in that respect, the tether is working, Judge. And I think you have members of the community that will be looking out to ensure that your court order is followed by Mr. Busick. And I think this is a real wake-up call for him, quite frankly. This isn't a situation he's used to being into, given his clean criminal record. And I think he's standing up a little bit straighter now after this and understands just how much is on the line after having a stern talking with counsel both last night and prior to court today about the severity of the situation that he's in here, Judge.
In the 14B case, isn't there a no contact?
There is a no contact order in place.
So what's he doing there? I mean, that's the part that's troublesome to me. He has a case in which he's the alleged victim, right, counsel?
Correct.
He knows there's a no contact provision, right?
Yes. Well, the no contact provision would run to the defendant in that case, which is the complaining witness in this
Understand
case.
how it works. That's not my point. My point is, why is him knowing that? Why is he at her residence?
Well, Your Honor, I would say that I think, these no contact orders, I mean, he shouldn't have been seeing her, but this is a 10-year relationship that goes back to when they were 16 years old. They have children in common. While I certainly would have liked if this was handled
So
differently.
that's all fine and dandy. But he knows she's not supposed to have contact. Right?
Well, he believed the condition was dropped. But I mean, I would agree that he should not be having contact, whether it's
Where do we get the idea that it was dropped?
I'm not sure, Your Honor.
I don't believe that for a minute. I mean, he knows she's not supposed to. I mean, I'll tell you what it sounds like to me. Sounds like to me he's intending on getting the upper hand. So he goes over there and he can basically, in essence, force her to give whatever answers he wants, because the one thing at least he knows or thinks is that if he calls the police, she's in violation, I'm not.
No contact means no contact, simple as that. And this guy still broke it, showing he doesn't take the court order seriously. I can't believe he's even asking for a cash bond. Like that makes up for what he did. Judge Simpson has seen enough to know when someone's just talking to sound good. What makes this tough is the guy's clean record, no past crimes, nothing. That always makes judges think twice because they can't tell if it's a one-time mistake or a red flag for something worse. He's even asking for a tether, like that will magically fix everything. You can see Judge Simpson thinking hard before deciding. So yeah, he's got no record, but what would you do if you were Judge Simpson?